The police called about our daughter being caught shoplifting.
My husband shouted angrily over the phone while we were out. They must have made a mistake. Even when I denied it, he wouldn't listen.
What are you doing? As her mother.
He continued to shout on the other end of the phone. But my mind was filled with questions because our daughter, who supposedly got caught by the police, was right beside me at that moment. I married Connor, who was 5 years older than me when I was 29 years old, and the following year, our daughter Taylor was born. Due to his job that required frequent business trips, he was away from home 2/3 of the month from the beginning of our marriage. While it was manageable when it was just the two of us, I worried that this lifestyle, especially after giving birth, would leave our child feeling lonely. Furthermore, there was another source of anxiety. Connor, who used to be very kind, had changed his attitude since I became pregnant with Taylor, and his condescending behavior towards me had increased.
Being a housewife must be nice, right? While your husband works outside, you just lounge around, snacking and relaxing?
That's not true at all. Being a homemaker means having plenty to do every single day. He often treated me like a lazy person. However, it was Connor who asked me to quit my job when we got married and to meet his expectations of perfect housekeeping. I couldn't afford to slack off. Despite this, around that time, he had just been promoted at work, so I attributed his stress to that and tried to be patient. After that, I safely gave birth to our daughter. Despite having small arguments with my husband, we were living relatively happily as a family of 3. However, the time when our life would crumble away was drawing near with each passing moment. It was a holiday, and it was Taylor's 10th birthday. Nevertheless, Connor said he had a day trip for work and left home early in the morning. I had also been out since the morning, but around noon, I suddenly received a call from him on my phone.
Taylor got caught by the police.
As soon as I answered the phone, I heard his frantic voice. Huh? What do you mean?
They contacted me from the police station saying she was caught shoplifting.
Wait, that can't be right.
You idiot. Don't give me excuses about our child. What's wrong with you, acting like a mother?
Even as I tried to deny it, he didn't listen and continued to shout angrily, continuing to shout one-sidedly.
Where are you right now?
From the background noise, it seemed like he realized I wasn't at home. I'm out for a bit.
How could you be away at a time like this? Useless. Fine then, I'll go to the police myself.
With that, he hung up the phone. Stunned by the sudden turn of events, my daughter tugged at my sleeve.
Was that from Dad? What did he say?
Well, he said you were caught by the police. My daughter mirrored my perplexed expression, furrowing her brow and tilting her head. That evening, my husband returned home a bit later than us. However, he didn't mention anything about the perplexing phone call from earlier in the day. Feeling concerned, I decided to bring it up myself. Hey, what was that phone call about? That Taylor was detained.
Oh, that. It was a case of mistaken identity.
Huh? According to him, the girl who was apprehended shared the same name and surname as Taylor, leading the police to mistakenly contact him. But that doesn't make sense. How did the police get your contact details? Upon asking the obvious question, he suddenly became flustered.
I wouldn't know about that. Maybe the police have everyone's data nationwide. They probably looked it up from there, right?
That sounds like something out of a drama. As I was about to press further, he hastily changed the subject.
By the way, where were you today?
Huh? It was Taylor's birthday, so we went on a day trip to the theme park she wanted to go to. I invited you too, but you declined because of your business trip, remember? He seemed to have completely forgotten about that and looked embarrassed. Come to think of it, when you were on the phone, you said you were going to the police, but how could you do that while on a business trip?
Huh? Oh, that got sorted out somehow. Well, let's just drop it. Everything's fine now, so why dwell on it?
With an awkward laugh, he hurriedly went to take a shower, trying to evade the topic. The strange phone call and his odd behavior left me feeling increasingly uneasy. At that moment, a message arrived on his phone, which was left on the couch. He can be lazy at times, and I knew that he didn't lock his phone. Thinking quickly, I picked up his phone and opened the email. It was a message from a woman named Layla, saying,
Sorry about today. Jade has been getting light-fingered lately, and it's been a real help having you go to the police instead.
There were 5 heart emojis at the end, which led me to suspect the nature of his relationship with her. Presumably, Jade is Layla's daughter, and she must have been caught shoplifting, prompting him to go to the police to vouch for her. Now, his claim about being on a business trip seemed dubious. While neglecting his daughter's birthday, he's remarkably kind to his affair partner's child. Discovering his betrayal in this way was unexpected, yet I surprised myself with how calmly I took it. I had wanted to believe that we were a happy family of 3, but perhaps my heart had been growing cold for a long time without me realizing it. Before I knew it, my fingers were navigating through every screen on his phone. A week later, on Friday night, after sending Taylor to stay with her grandparents, I waited in the living room for my husband to return. It was past 11 o'clock when he arrived home, humming to himself. Sorry to interrupt your good mood, but can we talk for a moment? I said, pulling him into the living room without waiting for a response.
Hey, what's going on? I'm tired.
He retorted loudly. But as soon as we entered the room, he froze as if instantly cooled down.
Hey, darling.
Sitting on the couch with a wink was the woman who was his affair partner.
Huh? Why is Layla here?
Oh, don't raise your voice like that. Your wife invited me over.
Huh?
I, with a superior smile, gestured for him to sit down as well, then proceeded to explain how we ended up in this situation.
You! It's tasteless to go snooping through someone's phone. It's a violation of privacy.
If you want to blame someone, blame your lack of crisis management skills. Having obtained her phone number from his phone, I immediately contacted her and proposed a meeting with the 3 of us. Layla must have been quite confident in herself. She readily agreed and came to our house.
I heard you were about a decade older than me, but your wrinkles are beyond my imagination. They look like they won't even smooth out with an iron.
She looked down at me, giggling mockingly. Indeed, her skin had a certain glow, and from head to toe, she seemed meticulously cared for. Well, I understand why you spend so much time on self-care.
Exactly. If you abandon yourself like you do just because you have kids, it's over for you as a woman.
Oh, I think it's better than losing yourself to a man and abandoning your life to your child. Don't you?
What did you say?
It's said that when children misbehave, they may be seeking attention from their parents. I wondered if this shoplifting incident also had that aspect to it. Furthermore, leaving everything for someone else to clean up, especially another woman's husband, doesn't seem right to me.
It can't be helped. I was an esthetician at the time, so I couldn't even answer the police's call, and besides.
At this point, Her eyes gleamed ominously, and her mouth twisted into an ugly shape.
What's wrong with Connor taking care of his child's situation?
Huh?
Hey, Layla. Don't say unnecessary things.
Her words left my husband pale and sweating profusely.
Enough already. Let me tell you the truth.
Ignoring his words, Layla calmly crossed her legs with an air of composure.
Jade is without a doubt your child, Takeshi. I'd even be fine with a DNA test.
Her daughter is indeed 9 years old. Which means she was born when Taylor was just 1 year old. Does this mean that my husband and Layla's relationship goes back even further? Before we were married? Or perhaps even before? It dawned on me that I had been betrayed by him from the beginning. Or perhaps even before our marriage. Her confident expression and his drained face confirmed it as the truth. Suddenly, everything made sense, including his increasingly cold demeanor since that time.
Haha. So, shocked? Were you hoping to break us up right here? Too bad. You should have played your trump card at a time like this.
Layla had been trying to convince me that her daughter was Connor's child all along. She claimed that she intended to use this as a reason to push for a divorce with me, but each time, Connor stopped her.
He told me to wait until the time was right to leave his wife, that the time has come now. Right? Isn't that right, Connor?
She looked excitedly at him, but he wore an expression of disinterest for some reason. She gazed at him with a frustrated look on her face. Ha ha ha. At that moment, I couldn't contain a slight chuckle. Layla immediately shot a sharp glance in my direction.
Hey, what's so funny? You're probably secretly terrified at the thought of being dumped soon, yet you're putting on a brave face. It's pathetic.
I'm sorry. The game isn't over yet, but you seem so convinced you've won that I couldn't help but laugh.
Huh? What do you mean?
The thing is, you're not the only one with a hidden card. I pointed my phone screen right in front of her skeptical face. She stared at the displayed message for a while. Then, her face turned bright red.
What's this? What does this mean?
Layla's trembling with anger was understandable. Displayed on the screen were affectionate messages between him and an unfamiliar woman. In fact, after reading her messages, I inadvertently stumbled upon exchanges with this third woman while tinkering with his phone. Judging from the content, it seemed their relationship had started about a year ago. He was whispering sweet nothings that sent shivers down my spine, showing just how captivated he was by her. At this point, Layla snatched the phone from my hand and began to point at messages he had sent to the woman, checking something.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is terrible. He even put 10 hearts. The latest messages he sends me don't even have emojis.
Oh, his messages to me are quite plain too. We're in the same boat, aren't we, dear? I smiled gently, and she let out a high-pitched scream, lunging towards him.
Who is this woman? Was he cheating on me? Despite having me?
I couldn't believe what I was hearing from this mistress, considering her position. I was dumbfounded and speechless, but I decided to watch their exchange for a while.
Shut up. Men have been hunters since ancient times. It's only natural for us to always aim for new prey.
What? Do you think that kind of talk works? Talk nonsense while you sleep, you jerk.
That's just who you are. You may look pretty, but your language is trashy, and your place is a mess too. That kind of thing will get thrown away someday.
What did you say?
She, with her disheveled hair and agitated demeanor, was far from looking beautiful, to say the least. Hasn't Connor been visiting your place less frequently lately? I interjected, causing Layla to abruptly stop in her tracks. And today, he was at this new catch's place again, wasn't he? According to their messages, he has dinner there every Wednesday and Friday. I continued. Upon hearing this, she erupted even further. It seemed she remembered being lied to when she confronted Connor about his infrequent visits, being told that he was discussing divorce with his wife. This is unbelievable. Leading me on like this. Connor, I'll never forgive you. I'll sue you for damages. Breathing heavily through her shoulders, Layla glared at her husband before turning towards me and extending her right hand for a handshake. Let's team up and squeeze money out of Connor together. We're allies, aren't we? She proposed. At that moment, I straightened my expression and looked her squarely in the eyes. What? I'm his lawful wife, and you're just a mistress. We're not allies. Perhaps you should keep your fantasies to yourself, I replied, my voice surprisingly cold. Her outstretched hand hung awkwardly, trembling visibly, with nowhere to go. I'll be the one getting compensation from you. It's clear from past emails that you knew he was married and still engaged in a relationship, so there's no way to deny it, I asserted. You're lying. If he leaves me, I'll be the victim too, Layla retorted. True. Can you imagine how it feels to be taken by a stranger? Well, the damage you've suffered is nothing compared to what I've been through, I added. After informing her of my intention to hire a lawyer and formally pursue compensation, she collapsed right there on the spot. Now, on to the last person remaining. Connor, straightening his collar that was gripped by Layla, had an oddly refreshed expression on his face.
Oh, what a sight. That Layla, acting like my wife. It was getting annoying. Thanks for knocking some sense into her. I feel relieved. Thank you.
I couldn't help but question how he could be thanking me in this situation. There's no need for thanks. I did it for myself, not for you.
Well, whatever the reason, let's put everything behind us and start afresh.
With that, he offered his right hand with a smile. I never expected to be asked for an unwanted handshake twice in one day. Stop saying ridiculous things. But yes, if you pay the settlement money and child support properly, I'll let it all go.
Huh? What do you mean by that?
If I don't say it clearly, you won't understand? Please, let's get a divorce. Immediately, he began to tremble and cling to me.
Wait. Please, spare me from that.
His subsequent pleas were truly exasperating. The idea of divorce will affect my career at work, I don't know what our relatives will say, and other self-centered excuses. He has no intention of parting ways but still goes out and has a child with someone else, hoping to quietly settle back into his old life after being caught. Such a convenient story simply doesn't hold up. At this point, what are you even thinking? Honestly, I feel sorry for myself for having been married to someone like you.
Can't you forgive me no matter what?
Of course not.
Fine. I'll agree to a divorce then. But in return, let me be the one who leaves you.
At that moment, my palm struck fiercely, sending him unexpectedly flying far away. A week later, the divorce with Connor was finalized. I demanded a settlement of $2 million in compensation and $6 million in child support from him, while also seeking $1.5 million in compensation from Layla, his affair partner. Regarding the second affair partner, since he had lied about being single, I did not pursue financial claims against her. Ironically, He was reportedly pursued for compensation by that affair partner. Struggling to meet these payments, he tried borrowing from his parents, but the reason for the divorce came to light, leading to a rift between him and his family. I've heard that he now lives in a rundown apartment and works late-night shifts after finishing his regular job. Meanwhile, I've returned to my parents' home with my daughter, enjoying each day together happily. I want to do my best to protect Taylor's smile and continue moving forward. How was this story for you? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time.